Hi there. In this video, let's make a new installation of Flutter Desktop. It's a very useful tool for you to replace the huge and slow Android emulator. Even if you don't have plans to release a Linux version of your app, it's very useful that you can test some functionalities of your app inside the Linux system using a native application. It's more responsible than any kind of emulator. It's really very fast and very lightweight. So let's start the installation. Here in the official Flutter website, you have the desktop support for Flutter installation guide, but it was made for Ubuntu. So let's change it a little for you install it on Manjaro or Arch Linux. The main difference are the package names. Some packages that are required by Flutter Desktop are shown here as their Ubuntu versions, and you have to install the same package but from Arch repositories, so some names can be different. I have made some research and discovered the name of these packages here for Arch Linux. So let's make the installation. Let's open the terminal and you can just type pacman-s /make ninja pkgconf and gtk3. So sorry, I missed the sudo. Some packages are already installed, but there's no problem. You just make the installation. Everything is okay. Now your system is ready for the installation of Flutter Desktop for Linux. First, you have to check Flutter channel. You have to check in which channel are your Flutter installation. By default, it runs the stable channel. The stable is the more mature channel of Flutter. To use this kind of new feature, you have to change to a more unstable channel. And the channel that is required by Flutter Desktop for Linux is the dev channel. So let's type Flutter channel dev and press enter. This will change your Flutter installation from unstable to the dev channel. Now run Flutter upgrade. It will download the more updated version of Flutter dev channel. Now it's finished. So you have Flutter up to date on channel dev. So let's run Flutter doctor and see if is everything okay. When you run Flutter doctor just after the install of a new channel, it will download some tools. Just wait some seconds. Oh, it's okay. Flutter is okay. Android toolchain okay. Android Studio. I have installed Android Studio in my system and there's no connected device. So let's enable Flutter Desktop for Linux. And you will do this by running Flutter config enable Linux Desktop. It will show setting enable Linux Desktop value to true. And if you have any editor open, you have to close and open it again. Okay, now let's run Flutter doctor and check if everything was okay and I have a new device. And it's okay. Flutter found a new device, and if you run Flutter devices, you will see a Linux desktop system here as Linux x64 as available device for you to run your applications. Now, let's create a new project and test the Linux desktop feature. Type Flutter, create, and choose a name, Flutter Linux. Flutter will now create a new project. Just wait some seconds. It's okay. Let's enter the folder and open this in VS Code. Here in Visual Studio Code, you have your project, and inside this project you have the directory iOS, Android, and Linux. Now your project is ready for the Linux desktop of Flutter. But if you want to change the behavior of an old project, a previous existing project, you can just run flutter create dot inside the root directory of the project. This will create the new folder for the Linux installation. Okay. Now let's test it. I will open here the main.dart file and let's run it. The VS Code already recognized the Linux desktop device. So let's run. You press the F5 button and wait. It will create a bundle that will run in this environment. Build a Linux application. That is the message that is shown here. When you run for the first time, it's normal to take several minutes or several seconds, just a little less than a minute, to get your application running on Linux. It's a normal Linux application. You can maximize, minimize, resize, and even if you want to get a similar size of a mobile device, you can resize the window any size you want. Okay, so it's ready. It's running on Linux, and you can follow the same steps to install it on your local machine with Linux. If you are using Ubuntu or you are using Linux Mint, you can follow the steps on flutter.dev website. But if you're using Manjaro or Arch Linux, you just have to replace the name of the package that are required and you can install it the same way. I hope this was useful for you. If you like this kind of content about Flutter, please give a like and subscribe to this channel. Thanks!